Hello, and welcome to the Aquarium of the Pacific. I'm Captain Joe of the Ocean Rangers, and today we're going to learn how to think like a scientist. Now, when you think of science, you might think of something like this. That definitely isn't always the case. Today, we're going to talk with my friend Stacy, who likes to study sharks. Let's go meet up with her and see what we can learn. Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with my friend Stacy, and she studies sharks. Isn't that right?
That's absolutely correct.
Excellent. Now, before we start, I gotta ask you, where's your lab coat?
You know what, that's a really good question. I left it at home today. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
As a shark researcher, I don't need a lab coat, so most of my work is actually done in the field. We'll go out on the boat and we'll go fishing on the water, and then come back and analyze that data at a computer.
How did you know that you wanted to study sharks?
It all started when I was really young. I always had a passion for sharks, and I'm sure a lot of you out there probably share this passion with me. And it wasn't until high school that I realized I could make a career out of liking sharks. And so from there, I went to college and grad school and studied marine biology.
Awesome. So, Stacy, when you're out there studying these animals and you're in the field, how are you practicing thinking like a scientist?
Well, the scientific method is always there, and the first step of that is to make observations. So when we're catching our sharks, we're always making these observations and trying to figure out their behavior and the different habitats that they prefer. And for my specific situation, I was interested in their movements.
So after making these observations, what do you do after that? You can't just observe. You got to do something after, right?
Right. So these sharks that we had, we actually put satellite tags on them. That gave us real-time data of where these sharks were. And one really interesting thing that we found was tiger sharks, which most people kind of assume stay near the coast and in really shallow waters. Well, these sharks that we tagged swam thousands of miles into the open ocean.
Wow, that's incredible. Do you have any idea on why they were out there?
So just another question that another scientist maybe wants to ask for a different research project, but it's really interesting because that open ocean is basically a desert. So there's nothing there, there's no landmarks, you know, they don't have their iPhone that
or their compass.
So they can't just figure out where they are based off of technology. They have to have some sort of environmental cue.
And now, so you found your observations and you researched the animals. Now, what do you think might be the reason why they were out there?
So that brings us to the next step in the scientific method, which would be to make a hypothesis. And my hypothesis was that they're using Earth's magnetic field to navigate.
So that's an absolutely incredible hypothesis. How are you going to answer that question? What do you do from here?
Right, so that brings us back to that computer part of science research. So we go on the boat, we go in the water, and then definitely have to go back to a computer and do different analyses.
Awesome, awesome. And now, it's my understanding that scientists work together in testing their hypotheses, and you're not just using your data, you're using this person's data and that person's data, right?
Exactly, so communication between scientists is really, really important. So to do a project, you need to know your background research, and that encompasses reading lots of papers. And some of the papers that I read don't even have to do with sharks. I read papers on homing pigeons and even lobsters.
Now, our students today, they're here learning how to think like a scientist. What is some of the things they can do just at home in the classroom? How can they start thinking like a scientist too?
So you guys are super, super lucky. We actually have live cams in a lot of our exhibits here. And all it takes is for you to start watching these and make your own observations and come up with your own questions.
That's right, and that's how you can think like a scientist. Have a great day learning about our animals here at the aquarium. It's Captain Joe signing out.